Okay, welcome everybody to Monday night Zoom meeting. Tonight, we are really excited. We've got some special speakers tonight. I will tell you the people you're going to hear. What's fascinating to me is we've got people represented, I think, from 15 or 20 states. And our speakers are from New Hampshire. They're speaking to us tonight from New Hampshire, from Utah, and Arizona. Pretty amazing what technology can do. But very, very excited because the gentleman I'm going to introduce is one of my, he's been a friend of Judy's and mine for almost 30 years now. One of the most successful entrepreneurs that I've had the privilege to know over the last 28 years. And he's got a great story, and he's going to introduce somebody that's going to just absolutely knock your socks off as he talks about this opportunity tonight. So I'm not going to take a lot more time, but I want to introduce very successful entrepreneur from Northern Utah, Jan Hayball. And I hope you got pencil and paper so you can take some notes. Jan, take it away.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. You're in for a treat tonight. In fact, tonight we're going to give you the opportunity to become involved in business with us. And we want you to relax and feel at ease, because one thing this isn't is a pressure situation. The presenter tonight is Mr. Tyler Libby. He'll be going over the details, and if you're an outdoors person or you're a big hunter and stuff like that, Tyler and his family owns Libby Sporting Camps, which is rated #1 by Orvis. Tyler has been in the industry for over 35 years. He spoke in some of the biggest arenas in the United States. Tyler's a historian. Long story short, Tyler's a stud. Women love him, and men want to be him. So, Mr. Tyler Libby.
I couldn't have said it better than you. That's great, Jan. No, Jan and I go back a long time, too. Can you hear me all right, Jan? Give me the heads up.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I'm really, first of all, the reason I have the tie on and the shirt here is I've been doing these meetings all summer from our cottage, which is like in the lake, over in the White Mountains area of New Hampshire, and we just moved back home, and so I decided it's time to dress up a little bit. But anyway, I really am excited to be here, and I was excited to be able to get the time to talk to y'all, because to be quite candid, some of my heroes are in this audience right here now, and I'm not going to talk a lot about them because I've got 20 minutes. Okay, I have limited myself to 20 minutes. I have other things going on, and so let's get right to it. Okay. Back in 1976, okay, to tell you how I got here, I was working for the federal government, absolutely hated every second of it, okay? And you say, why? And the reason was I wasn't really working. I was making about 10 times what I was worth. No, I wasn't worth anything. I was making a fortune, and I wasn't doing anything. And I just didn't want to be there day by day, but there was no way I could leave there and go into the private sector, okay? So I tell people I had these golden handcuffs. Well, I took a look at a precursor to this business, okay, back in 1976. I was 29 years of age, and I set a goal for myself. I wanted to become financially free by the time I was 33. Well, my wife and I, we did that, okay, and we've had the most incredible life that you can imagine, okay, and so what happened, okay, hey, Diana Hand, can you send Sean McNeil the link to this? He's texting me. But anyway, that's going to cost us 15 seconds, okay? But anyway, like I say, Debbie and I have lived the most incredible life that anybody's ever had an opportunity to live. And so I'm now 70 years of age, okay? And I looked down my mentor, a guy named Randy Haugen out of Utah, and I, about 4 years ago, made a decision that we wanted to find something our kids could do where they could make the same kind of monies we did so they could retire as early as we did as well. Well, we went out and we looked at a whole lot of companies. Some we didn't trust, okay? Some, they were the wrong kinds of models. Like, we were jaded. We'd been in the industry too long. Some were product-led, and I could tell you all the different problems we have. So long story short, what I'm going to show you here tonight has never been done before, okay? We stole from a bunch of different sectors, business models. We stole from the referral, like Uber-type companies. We stole from Amazon-type companies, okay? And we even stole some of the stuff from the network marketing kind of companies, and we put it all together in a package, like I say, that's never been done before, okay? I'm totally convinced that what I'm going to be showing you here in a second is going to be the largest business of its type on the planet. I really believe they're going to be billionaires made out of this, okay? And some may be on this call right here, or this conference right here, right now. Now, why is this the right time for something like this? Well, let me just tell you this. 71% of all Americans, okay, are in debt, okay? Not only are they in debt, okay, but they're making less money now than they did 10, 11 years ago. If you listen to IBM and some of these people that predict the future, they're saying that the average college kid right now is going to have 11.8, don't ask me how they come up with that, 11.8 careers in his life. Not jobs, different careers, okay? And one of the things about the millennials coming on, they almost all have this strong desire to direct their own destiny, okay? And so anyway, I think this is exactly the kind of thing, or one of the reasons why we're growing so well right now. Another thing that I want to just point out is we have this perfect storm going for us right now, because we just 6-7 months ago, for me to do meetings like that I see, what would you say, 20 states or something like that? For me to do that many meetings around the fruited plain just 6-7 months ago, I'd have been jumping on airplanes and I'd have spent $15,000, $20,000 to get it done, okay? Now I'm sitting here in my office, okay, in New Hampshire, getting it done. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and put a PowerPoint presentation up here, okay? Assume that I'm been made the director here, okay? And yeah, we have a doctor in a group that put this together, and we're going to reword it because it's a little hard to read, but it really sums up what we are. We're creating a team of those with eyes to see and courage to act, to tap into today's megatrends in a way that has never been done before. This allows anyone to develop an extraordinary, expanding, enduring, and passive income, okay? And here's our symbol. And I want to talk a little bit about our secret sauce, if you will, okay? This is our business logo. Here's what I feel is really important about what makes us special and different. Around the outside, you'll see that American Business Owner, Avisae Business Owner Association. That is actually a trade association, okay, that has control and input over everything. It's an elected board of peers, you know, okay? Then the second, to describe what's inside that circle, you'll see the purple thing. That's our marketplace. We knew we had to sell products and or services. So we consciously decided we wanted to go after 25 to 45 married, 2 jobs, 2 kids, the busiest people on the planet. So primarily we are a consumption model, at least that's the concept, okay? We initially started out to be a house of brands, and since we're a little tiny company, we've had it, you know, brand new, we had to settle on a house of premium brands because we can't compete with the common stuff yet, but we will when we get numbers, okay? And then the second thing you see there is another part of the secret sauce. There are leaders that are involved with this that know more about how to do this kind of business than anybody in the world. People like Randy Haugen and others, John Sims, I could start naming them, Gary Libby, etc. Okay, and or Rob Terrell for that matter. Okay, and then the last thing you see there, we wanted to make sure people that do make it in this industry tend to go from 0 to $1 million overnight because of the lottery effect. You know those people that win $50 million, okay, 3 years later, their wife is gone, she took the dog, IRS is knocking on the door and they're bankrupt. So we wanted to make sure that people not only learn how to make money, but they learn how to keep the money that they have, okay? Now this reminds me to tell the same story I've told for a million years. Back when I first took a look at this industry, the guy that showed it to me, I'd already failed at a bunch of stuff, and he said, Tyler, the reason you keep failing at stuff is, he said, you go after stuff that's so Mickey Mouse, so unimportant, that the first time an obstacle is thrown up in your way, okay, then what happens is you end up giving up, okay? And so he used this example, and I'm going to use it with you. He said, if I took a 6-inch plank and ran it from this wall to that wall and gave you $100 to bill, $100 bill to run it, walk it, would you do it? And I said, of course I would. He said, if I took that plank and put it up 1,000 feet in the air and put it between 2 buildings, same plank, same $100 bill, would you do it? And I said, of course I wouldn't. And then he went on, he said this. At the time, my youngest daughter was Melissa, okay, Missy as we call her. He said, if you were 1,000 feet in the air, you were on this side, your daughter was on the other side, okay, Melissa was on the other side, somebody had a knife to her throat, what would you do? And I said, I would go across the plank. I'd run across the plank. And I would become what the military calls target focused. There would be no way in the world that I could fail, right? And so what he convinced me to do, and I'm going to convince you to do it here tonight, hopefully, He said, sit down and design a life you don't need a vacation from. Just come up with the perfect life. Assume that money is absolutely no problem for you, okay? And so what I did, my wife and I sat down and we came up with weird stuff. I wanted to have a float plane that I could tie to my coffee table, on and on. My wife wanted to live in one of these ship captain's home on the coast of Maine. We wanted to send our kids to the colleges of their choice, yada, yada, yada. Back in 1976, that would have cost us $10,000 a month, okay? Now, that was a lot of money back then. You could buy a Cadillac for $10,000. So anyway, once we decided what we wanted, okay, looking back at it, I'm going to be honest with you, okay? I've been thinking about writing a book lately, and I look back and say, what really motivated us? Was it the material things and whatnot? And I have to admit, probably not. I think what I wanted, number one, was freedom, okay? I wanted to get away from, the job that I had, okay? And I wanted to be free, okay? I would not have admitted this 20 years ago. I wanted to become hero to my kids and family, and I wanted to have influence. So once we decided those things that we wanted, the guy that showed me that business, he could have told me that I had to shovel hem manure 12 hours a day, for 4 years. And I'd have said, oh, no, really? Oh, all right. Okay. And so I ask you rhetorically, I can't ask you because, there's too many people on here. But what would be the number one change that would, in your life if you had an extra $20,000 a month coming in? That's where we're going to go, $20,000 a month here this evening, in the next few minutes, okay? I asked that question to a woman out in Fort Wayne 3 years ago, and she gave me the most intriguing answer. I asked her in her kitchen, I said, what would an extra $20,000 a month, what would be the number one thing that would change in life? She didn't answer. She just stared at me. And I sat there staring at her. She stared at me. I stared at her. Finally, after a couple of minutes, she says this. She said, look, all right, I have a pension coming in from the Marines. I have a pension coming in from General Motors. I own my house. I own my car. I put those two pensions together. I can make ends meet. She said, but my son, John, came over a while back, and he told me that I needed a new roof. She said, I don't have money for a new roof. She said, every night I lay there all night long, worried about what happens if I have to come up with money for a new roof. She said, if I had $20,000 a month coming in, she said, I'd lay there and think about better things. And you think about that, she really described the difference between, did she not, a dream and a nightmare, okay? And so I'm going to encourage you to do that, okay? This is a slide. This is actually Robert Kiyosaki, the cover of Robert Kiyosaki's, one of his best-selling books, okay? It's called Cash Flow Quadrant. On the left-hand side, okay, he says the reason so many of us get into these ruts, he says, because over there, people trade their time for their money, and God only gave them so much time. Therefore, 95% of the people over there, and they only create 5% of the wealth, okay? On the other side, people end up finding ways to create money without having to trade time for it. I mean, you know the guy in your neighborhood that owns 20 apartment houses, big enough so we can hire a management company to manage them, and he's sailing around the Caribbean getting money from those projects, okay? Well, that's what we're going to talk about, passive income, not active income. And we're going to talk again, $20,000 arbitrary number. Now, as far as products, okay, we are, like I say, we're premium products. We've got one, everybody seems to be drinking the Torch energy drinks, which are all natural and all of that. I have a product on there that's sort of my favorite. It's Relief because I have joint problems. It eliminates my joint problems, okay? Doesn't cure anything, just eliminates inflammation. In other words, it's incredible, okay? My wife and I just lost 28 pounds through our weight loss program, never felt better, et cetera, et cetera. But I have to be honest with you, okay? Recently, we added a whole protocol of gut. This is weird for me to even say this, but stuff to treat the gut, whether it's probiotics, prebiotics, stuff to cure leaky gut or constipation, on and on and on, all of that stuff. And I can't believe it's taken on a life of its own. People are out there. I mean, whatever. Okay, it just gone crazy. Okay, and so anyway, I'm not getting into the products anymore. Whoever invited you here, they can send you to a site where you can find all you need to do about products. Okay, our ultimate goal, long term, is to sell everything that 25 to 45-year-old couple, married, 2 jobs, 2 kids, would consume. Okay, and so that's where we're going there now. As far as how we make the money big time is this, okay? You've all heard of limited referral programs. That's like Netflix. You sign up your neighbor, you make some money. But if your neighbor signs up the next neighbor, you don't make anything, okay? And so we asked the programmers, we said, let's just make up numbers. Let's say if you sign up your neighbors and make $100. With Netflix, you make $100. We said, then when that neighbor signs up the next one, could you make 25? And when the next one sign up the next one, could you make $2? When the next one sign up the next one, could you make $1, etc. We said, could you do that forever? And the computer nerd said, absolutely. Okay, dynamic compression, we can do that. So what we're going to show you here tonight is an unlimited referral program. There's absolutely no other end to it. Okay. Now, the other thing we recognize is the average American is broke. They cannot. Entrepreneurs talk about a crossing of the desert phenomenon. And what that is, if you invest $2 million into a McDonald's, as an example, okay, you might have to wait 10 years to start getting money back out of that. Okay. And so we know people don't have extra cash. So here's how we do it. Okay. When you get involved with this business, you're going to buy a batch of products. Okay. It could be $200 worth of products, $600 or $1,200. We don't care. We're not here to sell you a bunch of products. Well, let's just say you get in for $600. You get involved with $600, you get $600 worth of products. And let's just say that you love the energy drink. Well, guess what? You reorder it. Let's say you don't have joint problems. So you get your Uncle Ned to use the Relieve to treat his joint problems, and maybe you'll pick up a customer. You familiarize yourself with the product, in other words. Now, again, $600. Now, if you go out and sign up 3 people for the same size package that you got involved with, then we're going to cut you a check and pay you your $600 back. So here you go, 7, 8, 9, 10 days, you could get all your money back, okay? So you're in the black in 7, 10 days instead of 10 years. Now, to show you passive income, if you help those 3 people all get 3, and they won't, so, you know, come on, there's not going to be nice and pretty like that. But if you have 3 level 1 and 9 level 2, then you're going to be getting somewhere around $500 a month coming in month after month after month after month. Fact is, we know the average person out there sees that as being significant. We've done the research, okay? Now, we also, instead of being one of these network marketing companies where you have to go recruit 140 people on average, that's a fact, okay, to become a top earner, we want you only developing 3 channels. We're actually going to pay you to build those channels in depth. In other words, paying you to help people build their channels, okay? That way people don't get left out, and they're going to feel like you're a team instead of feeling ignored and abused, okay? So we call it channel commerce. We have a master strategy that will teach you how to do that exactly, okay? I'm not going to get into that here tonight, okay? If you take this, just for example, if you take this formation I've showed you right there, it's a geometric progression. If you went 10 layers deep, you'd be making $157,800 a month. I know nobody here believes that. There's a few people that believe it, okay? I can believe it because for decades, I made somewhere around $900,000 to $980,000 a year, not a month, okay? My mentor, though, Randy Haugen, he believes this because he certainly made way over this kind of it. Now, he blew this away, okay? All I want you to believe is that some people will end up making that money, okay? And for tonight's purposes, I'm just going to ask you to accept the fact that we're BSing you a little bit. Just take 10% of it. Let's say $15,000, $16,000 a month. Okay. Now, I want you to think about this what if slide just for a second. Okay. Just think about this. Okay. When I took a look at this industry, okay, back in 1976, I hate to think that I would have refused to have done it. I mean, if you get involved in this, you may not become financially free. I can't promise you anything, okay? But what if your involvement would lead you to a lifetime of freedom, okay? Or what if, or like that woman in Fort Wayne, just an extra $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month to take the worries off. Oh, by the way, see that picture? Okay, we just put that together. There's some of your leaders. You see Rob Terrell sitting there, okay? And you see Judy Ward in the middle of the pool right there. We didn't quite know that was you, Judy, when we did that. My mentor's home up on the top left-hand corner. And, you know, I said I always wanted to have a place I could tie my float plane to my coffee table. That's my float plane down there on the right side, okay, et cetera, okay. There's Jan Hayball sitting there, okay, whatever. We just did that for the heck of it. Sorry, humor me. Now, what do you do next, okay? Here it is, okay? Tonight, get back with whoever invited you here and book the next event. It could be just another webinar where you're going to grill them with questions, okay? Or it could be belly to belly coffee shop thing where you grill them, you're going to grill them with questions. We want you feeling totally comfortable before you take the next step. Okay. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down 10 names. I don't care what names you put down on a piece of paper, people that you know or you have some influence over. If you really want to feel like you cheated, then make as many of those 10 names as you possibly can. Make them the heads of a category. In other words, if you played football in high school, who did everybody look up to? Oh, the captain, Captain Joe, then put Captain Joe's name down. Because we will go talk to Joe. If Joe gets involved, then you have a dominoes effect, and all of a sudden that whole group gets involved, okay? Maybe you'd pick the sharpest person on your wife's side of the family, okay? Or you could pick the sharpest person in your church, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. 10 names, okay? Not thousands. We don't need hundreds and thousands, okay? We're going to show you how that we're going to get your 3 channels out of those 10 names, okay? The third thing, okay? Secure your place in a channel. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second, okay? Enroll in the Boss educational system. Now, I don't know if you guys I don't think you're using the 313131, so I'll skip that. But if Rob, you add that if you in fact are, okay? So anyway, that's what you do next, okay? Now, I've got to get out of here. I cannot stand PowerPoints, okay? There's something about it drives me nuts when everybody's sitting there being bored to tears looking at that, okay? But I just want to say a few things before I'm out of here, okay? First of all, for those of you that are new, I really can't wait for you to meet the team of people that you're going to be playing with, okay? We got some of the quirkiest teams that you've ever seen in your life on this call right here. We have doctors. We've got one guy that was so bankrupt when he took a look at this that he had every creditor in the world, not just North America, coming after him, okay? We have a world-class pianist on here, okay? We've got kids on here. I say kids, 20-somethings, young 20-somethings, and we have people that are my age, maybe I'm the oldest, I got 70-year-old, okay? And so anyway, I want you to meet them, okay, because you'll find that there's a tremendous asset there. And then assuming that this is a good fit for you, okay? Yeah, assuming that you're sitting there saying, yeah, this would fit into my life, and assuming that the team that you're going to be working with, okay, thinks that you're a good fit for them. And I have no reason to think that wouldn't be the case, okay? I just can't promise. Let's put it this way. I commit to people. I'll do whatever. I'll stay with them until, if they want to become financially free, I'll stay with them until they're financially free. But I have to pick that. I'll fly to, Grants Pass, Oregon for a guy that's on here because I've committed to him that I will stick with him until he's free. I don't just make that decision, willy-nilly or will-they-nil-they, okay? And so anyway, the other thing I want to point out before I turn this over to the next guy, okay? No one likes time pressure. I hate time pressure. I went in looking for a new car for my wife the other day, and the salesman started giving me pressure, trying to get me into the sales manager office. I really wasn't going to swing on him, but I think he sensed at one point I might, okay? I'm just here looking at a car, buddy. Don't you be giving me that kind of stuff. So my point is, if this is a good idea tonight, this will be a great idea next week, okay? And the only thing I want to add to that, though, as sort of a little caveat, is this is time sensitive, okay? We're moving on. I know Rob Terrell, okay, who I'm going to be introducing here in a second, is moving on incredibly well and fast, okay? People are getting involved in the business, okay? Either those people are going to be getting in your group, okay, or you will be getting in their group. Long term, not that big a difference, but if I were your brother, I would say, or your father, I'd be saying, I'd get on a hustle and get in just as soon as you've had a chance to check it out, okay? Anyway, I've enjoyed talking to you. My time is up, okay? I'm so proud of myself. It used to take me an hour to do this, okay? To be able to go through this, okay? Get with whoever invited you here. Get with them assume right now, okay? And trust me, okay, if you're with the Arizona Connection, that's who's putting this on here tonight. You've got some of the most incredible leaders. I'm looking at some, Jeff, okay, the Hammonds, okay. One of my heroes is Rob Terrell. He's survived some incredible things in life and bounced back up, and he's one of my most incredible leaders. And literally, like I said earlier, is a hero of mine. So with that, Rob, take it away, my friend.
Okay, can you guys hear me? All right, good. Hey, Tyler, that was awesome. Jan, Hayball, that was really great. It's great to be on here. I feel very, very honored just to be able to be on the same Zoom webinar with these guys. But, you know, the second to the last slide that Tyler put up, right in the middle of it said, what if? And I want to just cap on that because like Tyler, years ago, it was in actually 1987 for me, when I saw a kind of a crude representation of this industry as a business opportunity. And I really did not want to look at it. And I was kind of forced by my wife. She wanted me to look at it. And I didn't know the guy who was coming. And so to make a long story short, I did it as a courtesy. I said, okay, I'll look at it as a courtesy. Now, I was a college graduate, and I was working in a Fortune 500 company at the time. I was one of the youngest marketing reps for that company ever to be hired. And so when they came over and he showed me the plan, of course, when I was done, I was courteous, maybe like you're thinking right now. I was courteous, and I said, okay, that's good. I saw it. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's great to meet you. I'll see you later. And we pushed him out the front door. And, you know, my wife's like, what do you think? And I just passed it off. The problem was I laid down in bed that night, and I laid in the bed staring at the ceiling, and all I could think of was, what if? The question is, what if it works? You know, he talked about being able to create a business with my discretionary time where I could actually start to create passive income to get to a point where I could maybe take over my primary income, or certainly, if nothing else, supplement to it. We were buried in debt. I could think of a lot of different ways a passive income could help us. And I laid there in bed and I thought, what if? Well, it drove me crazy to the point that I decided, you know what? Here's what I'll do. To satisfy this craziness, I'm going to dig into this. I'm going to look in all the facts. I'm going to get all the information I can. I'm going to soak up everything they can show me. And then in that process, I'll find a legitimate reason not to do it. And that's really kind of the direction I took on the what if. And so I did. I started digging in, and the more I saw, the more I got excited, the more I realized I could take control of my own destiny. And I just decided, you know what? I'm a hard worker. I'm willing to work hard. The problem is I'm doing it to make everybody else's dream come true. And I just said, you know what? We can do this. And we took off and decided to make something happen with this. And again, guys, understand this was a cruder version of what we're doing, kind of an elementary version of what we're doing. And in about a year, I was able to be financially free. We had created a six-figure income. And so a little over a year. And so what I would challenge you tonight to do from what Tyler showed you is I would challenge you to say, what if, and then dig into the facts. The person that invited you to see this can get you all the information. They can overflow you with information from some of the top successful people in the country. And what I would recommend is get that information, dig into that information. About 10 days ago, we were in Niagara Falls with a group of leaders. I see some of them on this call tonight. And we were out there and we were talking about the direction of where this is going. The reason I bring that up is because in just 10 days from now or so, a couple weeks, we have an event in Salt Lake City that's very similar. And it's going to be doing the same thing, introducing the direction that we're headed with this. And if you're here tonight looking for the first time, or if you're here and you've been around for a little bit, I would recommend do whatever you have to do to come with us to Salt Lake City, because with that, you're going to get enough information. Well, it would take me 6 months to bring you up to speed with what we can teach you in about a weekend there in Salt Lake and what we can get you started with. So I would recommend that you come to that. The ticket's a nominal fee, the cost to travel, what have you. You get yourself out of town. It'll be a fun trip. You'll enjoy spending time with the people. So I would recommend that you do that. And dig into this. Dig into the facts. Get back with the person that invited you. Ask them to give you the information you need to make a really good decision. And then Start that list like Tyler talked about and put those names on there and see about, and you know what's really funny? I had a list of people that I knew was gonna join us in business. And then I had a list of people that I knew would never join us in business. And it didn't take me long to figure out that I was 100% wrong. All the ones I knew absolutely were going to get in didn't. And all the ones that I knew would never get in with me did. And so I would recommend that you don't leave anyone off your list and that you put the top of those categories, the person that has the most influence. And let's show them. And you know what? With the webinar, you could actually show them in less than 24 hours. Just get with the person that invited you tonight and get your business kicked off and rolling. And you know, I always get people that say, well, I haven't decided whether I'm going to do it or not. Well, if you decide you're not and you share the idea with somebody and they decide they're going to, what does that matter? That hasn't hurt you. But if you decide you are and they decide to join you, your business is already rolling. And that, to me, I don't know about you guys, but that's exciting to me to think in the next 24 hours, you could not only get into a business, but have it rolling. And that really, the answer to that is to get back with the person that invited you, that's working with you, that is connected you, linked you to this webinar. They're the magic key to the future of this. So what if it works? What if we can make this thing happen? Join us, become a part of this, check it out. Come and meet Jan Hayball in Salt Lake City. Come and meet Randy Haugen in Salt Lake City. Come and meet some of these really, really successful people, and you'll find out they're people just like you, that they saw something one day and decided to chase their dream. So come join us. I'll turn this back over to you, Jeff.
Wow, what an incredible evening. I'm not going to take a whole, there's not much more you can say after hearing from Jan Hayball, Tyler Libby, and Rob Terrell. But, you know, what you just heard from were three gentlemen who Tyler has been financially free for over 36 years. Jan Hayball, I think, for 30 years. Financial freedom, guys. I mean, what does that mean to you? And Rob Terrell, at the ripe old age, I think he was 26, if I remember right. That was, gosh, that was like 27 years ago, I think. He reached the state with Stephanie, his wife, of financial freedom. So, I mean, I don't know who you've got out there, your job during the day, whatever you do for a living. I don't know who out there, like I told TJ a few days ago, said, you know, who do you have that's willing to sell out their time, their sweat, their blood, their tears, their effort to help you become financially free and reach your dreams? But I've never had anybody outside of the gentleman you've just heard, a few other people within this industry, within, you know, that we work with now, who are selling themselves out to help me become financially free. So that's what you get your hands on. And all you really got to do is say, yep, I'm one of them. You don't need to go any further. I'm going to be one of those guys. So, wow, what an incredible presentation. An amazing night. Thanks, Jan. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Tyler Libby. Incredible. Thank you very much. And I'm going to sign off. And you guys, hopefully you're going to sleep. That when you go to sleep tonight, you can't sleep. Talk to you all soon.